How are we doing, folks? So, welcome to Friday afternoon report out. Hello, my name is Jenny Lewis, I'm Director of HR and OD. Here today, chairing today at Report Out because Julian sends his apologies. He is at the Cancer Alliance Network. But I'm sure he sent me a text that I will share with you a bit later. Has that been updated? Thank you. So, firstly, it's Valentine's Day. Have you all sent one, received one?
Oh, yes.
Brilliant. Should we move on quickly? Love it. Well, we've got brilliant agenda. And I've heard already so much about the breast cancer value stream. So shall we start there? Is this yourselves here? Brilliant. So let me just check we've got the right people. Jimmy as our KPO specialist lead. Team lead, Natasha. Yeah. And then process owners, Manly, Simone. Great. Glad to have you here. And then team members, Paige, Karen and Kevin. Fabulous. So I'm sure you'll introduce yourselves, but off you go. I can't see all that pink in report out.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Parvin. I'm a KPO specialist and a workshop lead for this. The first RPIW in, guess what, the breast cancer value stream. So we thought we'd make an effort in that trend. Just realised it's going out on YouTube as well. So there we go, no hiding now. This is our project form. So ensuring patients with suspected breast cancer get their first appointment is a critical safety step and the responsibility of the referral and booking service, part of the outpatient CSU. Also vital for the process are the oncology CSU who coordinate our capacity for specialist appointments for our patients. Ensuring this appointment takes place is an NHS constitutional standard. It's also a standard that we struggle to achieve. Observation of the current state reveals a multi-step process where referrals are batched and handled several times before appointments are made for patients. There's sometimes a disconnect with the flow of information to the patients and staff in the process. We saw frustration where people working hard under a significant and relentless burden of work as these referrals keep arriving. So, plentiful opportunity for improvement.
Hello, my name is Natasha Brissett. I'm a KPO facilitator and team lead for this event. This is our target progress report. This is the way that we'll manage our improvements and our successes this week. The lead time was a big one. In a 2-week wait pathway, every minute counts, and getting a patient into their first appointment is really critical. So we set ourselves a 1,440 minute target, or a 24-hour target, to get that appointment booked in. We didn't just want to make it faster, we wanted to remove some of the defects along the way, so we chose to look at patient choice. Quite often, if we can't get in touch with a patient, we will fix book them. And what we found was that didn't offer a right lot of choice, and also there was a correlation in our data between the amount of patients that we fix book and the amount of patients that do not attend their appointments. So this was another focus for our week. Up there we have attack time, and what we know is it takes 20 minutes for a patient. So based on the amount of time that we have in RBS to book the patient and the 180 patients that we see on average a week, we need to be putting a patient through this process every 20 minutes to be able to meet our demand.
Hello, my name is Simone Corcoran. I'm the Business Support Manager for the Referral and Booking Service Fast Track and the Switchboard team. I am one of the process owners for this improvement week. I'm going to provide a brief overview of our value stream map of our current state. All suspected cancer referrals are referred and received through the electronic referral system into the Fast Track team at Leeds Teaching Hospitals. We currently batch the workload, so for example, we may register 20 patients and then book the appointment throughout the day or in some cases the following day, depending on workload. From the observations we completed, our lead time for patient referral to be received for an appointment to book was 31 hours and 20 minutes. Listening to the feedback from patients and staff, it was obvious there was a huge opportunity to improve the quality we provide for both patients and staff for this process. Reflecting back on the sponsor challenge set by Mike, I feel very proud and passionate on the success we've accomplished this week, working to succeed is the challenge.
Hello, I'm Manley Dupree. I'm I'm the business manager for surgical oncology, which includes the breast service, and also one of the process owners for this project. I'll be sharing a little bit of information about the future state of the value stream map. I'll start by saying batching is bad. During the planning phase, a realistic target of booking an appointment within 24 hours was agreed. This was felt to be more achievable than the timescale that was previously suggested of 4 hours during a sponsored development session, but it still represented a 30% improvement on the current state, which is 31 hours. During the workshop, we observed Kevin booking some appointments in testing the one-piece flow system, and this has supported the improvement. In a future state, it is now felt that the appointment could be booked within 60 minutes of receiving that referral. Yesterday we were in the fast track team, and I overheard a conversation between two members of staff saying, you know what, with a few tweaks here and there, we might be able to do this in 15.
Hello there, my name is Kevin Fung. I'm one of the clerical officers at the Referral Booking Services. So before the one piece workload, we worked on so as I mentioned about batching. So for me as a member of staff doing it, I feel like doing it as like a heavy workload due to the fact that you might get 100 referral in, you rely on other members of staff doing downloading from the electronic referral services, and my main task was just to book an appointment. Sometimes I feel as if I'm not very patient-centred. Reason why is you might rush to book all these appointments, and personally you might not get the time to engage with the patients regarding about referral. So all I do is just bang, 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 just trying to empty the appointments as possible. But what we worked on this week was banishing the batch. That's the key term we used. So and implemented the one-piece workflow, which is on the wall there. So instead of having two members of staff, one doing the downloading, one doing the booking, what we tested was one member of staff doing all in one go, so from downloading to booking appointments. So we managed to reduce the lead time from 31 hours down to 60 minutes. Feedback from the patient I've got on the phone call was some of the patient I spoke to didn't really expect a phone call and asking what you're phoning for. For that, the reason was they didn't expect it to be that quick, really. So as improvement, what we worked on the standard work was we created a standard operating procedure or SOP for any staff, and that could be in the fast track team, or when I'm not in, it could be for new starters, really. That will help.
Hello, my name is Paige Cuthbertson and I am the Assistant Patient Service Coordinator for the Fast Track team. I am going to talk about the impact on value and quality for staff supporting our sponsor challenge. So when testing the one-piece flow, we did not ask patients for feedback as we was mainly testing the timings. However, 3 out of 4 patients voiced how amazed and stunned they was at the speed we had rung them. One patient had not even returned home yet from his GP and we rung him and booked him an appointment. Knowing I was involved in reducing that patient's anxieties and I took away the wait time made me feel so proud to work for the Leeds teaching hospitals. I went on the whole journey with the patient. I registered the referral, I win-dipped it, I booked it, and I communicated back to the GP to say, we've got your patient, we've booked them in the time frame, and we're taking care of them. That made me feel accountable. We also changed our script to give the patient accurate information on what to expect on the day, which makes me feel confident knowing that my patient is coming to clinic prepared and there will be no nasty surprises on the day. Banishing the batch and implementing one-piece flow reduced pressures from the fast track team as it has taken away one individual ever having 100 bookings to do in one go. This has already increased staff morale and other members have asked if they can banish the batch with other specialities such as dermatology.
Hello, my name's Karen Schofield. I'm a member of the outpatient team and one of the receptionists in Breast Clinic. I've spent a lot of time this week in the clinic area asking patients various questions and answers there on the board. And the feedback that we've received has resulted in an information leaflet going to be sent out with patients' appointment letters, which will also request that patients confirm their appointments by text, which will hopefully reduce our DNA rates.
So this is our target progress report at the end of the week, and it's safe to say that the banishing the batch definitely stole the show. We've improved our lead time by 95%, much to the delight of the staff and the patients. Banishing the batch as well, we think will also help with patient choice. What we were finding, a huge batch landing on the wait list meant that the CSU would jump in to book to try and help out. The CSU don't work evenings and they don't work weekends, which is an ideal time to contact patients, so their fixed booking rates were higher. Now that we have our one-piece flow with RBS doing everything, we're hoping that that patient choice should increase. And as Karen's mentioned, the patients that we can't get in contact with and we do have to fix book, hopefully that text message confirmation will really help reduce any of those DNA rates. We haven't managed to see any of the patients that we've looked at this week come through our process, so we'll be updating you at 30 days about how they feel about that patient choice.
This is our newspaper, which details our plan and commitment to continue to test and measure the new ideas we have brought to the table this week. A lightbulb moment was the improvement we could make on the collaboration of teams for CSU and RBS. We completed a plan, do, study, act and tested a weekly huddle to forecast and agree plans for capacity and raise any general or urgent concerns. We created standard work regarding the huddle to include a set agenda, agreed set times for the agenda items and recorded actions.
As part of the project, we also looked at areas to help us do our jobs better. It was realised that the booking guide could be more up to date to support staff. As a result, the collaboration between teams will now include an overhaul of the booking guide. This feeds really well into the sponsors challenge. How can we improve the process for patients as well as staff? With this in mind, we hope that we can update this and empower the booking team and reduce the number of escalations, and also the times that they need to seek advice from the CSU. Having a regular huddle will hopefully strengthen working relationships, increase the ability to share knowledge, and also truly work collaboratively.
Pretty self-explanatory, the learning this week. You've heard from the team. Where have you got batches? Where can you banish them? Because the evidence speaks for itself. Thinking we work well with people and have the working relationships is one thing, but do we really understand what they do? Can you walk in their shoes? Because if you can, you're in a better position to think about what the gives and the gets from this relationship and how can we make it better so we're adding more value. Who is your customer? We also often talk about patients, and the patient-centred approach of this team this week has been absolutely superb. But sometimes your customer might be the colleague next in the process. How can you give them the best possible chance to do their work well? If anyone wants a story about an aeroplane game, so that's our key learning, and thank yous could go on a while. I'm not going to try and remember what's on the screen behind me, but the team in RBS, both in the preparation for this week, during this week, and I am confident beyond this week, will continue to support, and as you've heard, probably hijack the banish the batch mentality and all that has been supportive of that. There's some key mentions. Eve Hodgson from Oncology, who's helped us with her unique perspective and insight onto how to make this better. Kath Miller, who can't be here today because there's a large West Yorkshire cancer event going on, which she's contributing to, but it's been in our week and couldn't make reports out. Sarah for her input in the planning. Jimmy at KPO for keeping us ticking over. Mike supported the team with fuel. And more importantly, a superb sponsored challenge that really resonated for the team and motivated us to see what we can do. And Rob Easton, who's a GP partner, who gave up his time to give us the primary care perspective on this. So thank you, that concludes our report.
Oh my word! That's amazing. Especially in the middle, I nearly cried. Oh, just awesome. So, as per usual, we'll stick to a standard way of working. We'll hold on to your questions and your observations and your excitement. It was brilliant. Well done. So then, next up, we've got some improvement work to be presented by a lovely group of people over here. So we've got Liz, Lindsay and John. Yeah, great. And here to tell us all about what you've been doing with the SAU electronic systems improvement work. Is that right? Fabulous. Over to you.
I'm the matron for SAU, but also the project lead for the acute value stream.
Hi, I'm Liz Meller from Pharmacy, and I'm linked to the SAU VSST work.
Hello, my name is John Davis, and I'm also from Pharmacy.
Hi, my name is Wayne Short, one of the senior nurses in Pharmacy.
So we wanted to look at how we could move the weight recording that is done at the point of triage in SAU onto an electronic system. So what used to happen is that the patient would arrive in SAU, they would be put through our triage process within about 15 minutes of arrival. Our assistant practitioners, or our band 4s, would perform the triage, and they would add the patient's weight onto a paper form. Our challenge was, at that point, to look at how we could improve our VT performance by maybe allowing us to put our weight on an electronic document. And we discussed this at stand-up with the execs, and Liz was at VSST, and we decided that we probably could make this challenge happen, and we wanted to look at how we could do that. These are the systems that are currently in use on SAU, so paper, PPMP and eMeds. Oh, have I gone too far? Nope. The reason that we wanted to do that was mainly so that we can look at the tinzaparin being prescribed at the point of VTE assessment, and what our doctors were telling us is that they were unable to do that because they didn't see an electronic weight anywhere.
Thank you. So I took up the challenge in August last year, and I went on a Gemba to the SAU, and I came across a lovely healthcare assistant, Ryan, who volunteered to help me with a PDSA right there and then. So we decided that we would have a go at looking at the ppm plus height and weight recording document that was already available within the system but that wasn't being used, and we would do a PDSA on one shift with one person in one triage room to take the weights for the patient onto the paper as normal, because we didn't have an e-triage ready yet, but also to add the weight to the clinical document. The patient is very much at the focus in this as well, in that the weight is done at triage, and then we want to make sure that that is available to everybody, rather than having to keep asking the patient of, have you had your weight done and do you know what it is? The form was just a standard document. It was available and had been launched, but at that time wasn't being used, but is a straightforward taking your data and inputting it into boxes and then saving it as a form.
So after a small period of implementing this change over a day, we retrospectively went back and looked at the patients that we triaged. In total there were 15 patients, 6 of these were admitted overnight, and brilliantly all of these patients had the weight correctly recorded on ppm, but only one had the weight transferred onto the eMed system. We also went to look at the VT risk assessment forms for these patients. In total, 5 of these had a documented VT risk assessment on ppm. 3 were prescribed the appropriate anticoagulation doses, and 3 were prescribed stockings, including the patient without a VT risk assessment form. Interestingly though, what we realised is not all of the individuals working in the triage team had firstly the same job roles or were able to do the same things on ppm or eMeds, which made for some variability. So we wanted to look into that a little bit further to understand why.
So role-based account controls, commonly abbreviated to RBAC. These are the controls that are used to allow levels of permissions within electronic systems, such as who can complete an EDAM and who can prescribe within the eMed system. So a comprehensive review of the ESR job profiles found 96 different roles, many of which had all different job descriptions. Reviewing the job descriptions against the EMEDS role profiles showed inconsistencies. The EMEDS system only has 14 EMEDS permission roles to be able to give. This is quite a busy slide, but hopefully it shows you how complex the whole situation was. So on the lower left image shows you the 14 EMEDS role profiles that can be given to professionals within the trust. The image on the right shows you the functionality that can be given to each individual specific role. An example of the difficulties between matching the EMED system and the ESR roles could be your healthcare support worker on the top. So the healthcare support workers that aren't a registered professional and therefore aren't authorised to administer medicines under their registration. But under the unregistered practitioner policy, with further training and competencies, they're allowed to administer medicines. However, the EMED system doesn't allow that functionality.
So at this point, our mind was blowing a little bit, and we were a bit like, oh my goodness, what can we do? So we took a bit of a step back, and we had a look at how the systems all interrelate. And we realised that everybody who works in the trust who does an online PPM training also had an access to see in a view-only way the medicines system. So we thought to ourselves, what if there was a way we could give a permission to all those people who could see the view-only section of the medicines fields to put something into that bit of it? Everyone told us that we were asking questions that were too difficult, but we kept going in that persistent what if, and we had a go at changing the permissions associated with that banner, which I'll show you in a second. And actually it became apparent that you could put data into that view-only section of the EMEDS without affecting any of the other sections around prescribing or administration. It also then became visible to anyone else who was using the system afterwards. We worked with the informatics service delivery team to find systems that would allow us to give this permission and recognise new staff in the future as long as they did their PPM training and get their name transferred onto that permission list for EMEDS. And it meant that staff who we were asking to do this did not need a separate password for their EMEDS access, so it was relatively straightforward once we had it working. So once we'd persuaded everyone to give it a go, we did some testing, and it is basically taking your data and putting it in, very much like the PPM chart, into the top fields, and then it appears in this blue banner, which if you've opened eMeds, any of you who use it, you'll see at the very top with your patient details in, and it puts the weight and the height in if it's entered.
So this is some of our staff feedback. So easier to use the electronic form once they've been shown how to do it. We can put information into the right place now so that people that are looking at it can also see it on eMeds. I'm glad now that I can do the same as my colleagues. It didn't make sense that we were doing the same job at triage but couldn't use the same IT systems. And one of our pharmacists has suggested that they noticed that more weights were going on to eMeds, but they didn't realise how that was happening. From a matron's perspective, what we've seen in SAU, so we've done a lot of work with the team around electronic recording of weights, and we've seen a significant improvement in our metrics now around that. So it was at 33%, it's now at 100% every month. And we've discussed that on our weekly People Link board, and it was one of our KPIs of the month. So we're really pleased of the improvements that we've made.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Well done. Am I on? Am I on? Amazing. And it really strikes me, increasingly, our report types are so much more cross CSU, and the collaboration between the teams, I think, is just maturing and maturing every week. It's brilliant. So then, we've got an Lean for Leaders certificate. Lovely. So, Victor Gill. What's spooky, Victor, is that I spent yesterday in your work area being shown around the amazing work that you do. And everywhere I went into all of the, it's a huge area, isn't it, managing all of the blood sciences. It was just, there's Victor's work. Oh, and that's Victor's work. Oh, and Victor did this bit, and that visual management bit up there, Victor brought back from Lean for Leaders. So when I saw your name on the agenda today, I just thought it was absolutely brilliant and testament to you, because I would strongly recommend you go and have a look at the work that has been done. It is superb, and you can book into a tour on the organisational learning system apparently, which I'm going to be encouraging some people to do. So huge congratulations, and I was very pleased to see it in the reel yesterday. It was brilliant to see. Well done. Brilliant. Well done. Well done. And have we got some certificates for those in the RPIW week? I've probably pressed the wrong button. So then, did you have fun this week? Yeah, you did some amazing work, which I'm sure colleagues are going to want to comment on now. So, to Mandy, well done. Really well done. Brilliant. Is that? Well done, Simone. Brilliant report. Well done. Congratulations. And to Paige. Please don't try and make me cry again next time. Well done. It's really, really good. And to Karen. Well done. Brilliant report out. And to Karen. And to Kevin. Brilliant. Really well done. Amazing. Well done. Can we have a photo, do you think? Well done. Lovely. Brilliant. Do you want to sit down? You're very welcome to stay standing. So, just before I kick off the questions, I've had a text. I've had a text. Can you tell what rubbish I watch on the TV? I had a text from Julian, so I just wanted to read that out because he's in the Cancer Alliance event that I think Cass probably at the same time. So impressed with the improvement work reported out today. I think you got to hear about some of what you've been doing prior to you reporting out. Really pleased to hear about the great work in breast and in SAU. Stunning reduction in lead time. Can't wait for the 30-day report out. Well done, everybody. Brilliant. So, over to you. Other than banish the batch, which we've got to hold on to, haven't we? Absolutely loved it. Questions, thoughts, observations?
So I'm a very proud sponsor of this. I was the same as you, Jenny, feeling just it really kind of resonated the whole week. So I need to just say thanks to the KPO team because they were fantastic, supporting the team through something that is different for everybody, I think. I think the collaboration between the teams from RBS and oncology has just been stunning, and I think that, as a kind of lesson that we need to take forward, in terms of that ability to work and willingness to work together. I think that gives me hope that this will sustain for the longer term, and that it will, that there's lessons that we can learn here for all of our cancer pathways. And particularly, there's the challenge I'd put to the team was, yes, the lead time is one thing that we need to get to improve upon, but really this was about adding value for patients and for staff, and that this whole process needs to feel better for everybody. And 31 hours sounds okay, but when you think actually our obligation is to get these patients in within 14 days, saving 20 whatever hours it is now, 30 hours I think now, is fantastic for patients. I think Kevin summed it up saying, that they feel much more connected now to the whole process, and getting the guys up into clinic and seeing the patients that we all serve, you know, and seeing the benefit that we will get from this is crucial. But it also helps the organisation in terms of performance, you know, and you know, all of those three things are ticked, and patients are really responding to it, you know, and you know, the quality of the service that we can now provide to people is fantastic, you know, and you know, my obligation is to keep supporting these guys doing this, but also in terms of what we can offer for the other cancer pathways, you know, and try to learn the lessons and roll this out to other areas. So huge
Really
thank you to everybody. It's been brilliant.
Really, really well summarised. And well done to you for setting the broader expectation, because as you say, we can often go after the lead time.
Yeah.
But I really liked that you as sponsor and set the sort of the broader one. Dave?
The breast cancer team, I think, has missed a very important statement, which I presume I might be wrong. I presume all these amazing changes you've done have been with the same resource.
Yes.
I think you really need to stress that, because they are
That's a
amazing
good point.
changes, and you've done it with the resource you had at the beginning, which is equally important. It just shows you that we can do this. It doesn't necessarily mean lots and lots of extra staff with all the consequences.
Yeah, really, really good point. You sat next to Simon. Of course.
The 31 hours to an hour, I'm thinking from my personal experience of the anxiety, oh, they're going to send me the appointment, when they're going to send it me, and it's there. The thing with ringing the guy up before he got home, that just from a patient experience point of view is absolutely huge. And I'm personally amazed and stunned and amazed that you've done that, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd agree. Brilliant.
I wanted just to say I'm really jealous of your banish the batch phrase. Because I wanted to echo Jimmy's point that the archive of doing pharmacy absolutely tackled the same batching problem.
Yes, they did.
And we cut our dispensing median time down by 75% with the same resource.
Yeah.
And I wanted just to say I'm now becoming a banish the batch convert in all the areas that we're batching, because it feels such a simple change that makes such a high impact.
It's the new axe the facts.
It is.
And I wanted to ask on that point, Liz, so because I can remember pharmacy saying they really found that concept really hard, so it took a bit of getting your head around. How did you find that this week? Just went with the concept? How did it go?
Do you mean the actual doing it, banishing it?
Well, the concept of banishing the batch when that is what we're so used to doing.
I think to begin with it was a bit the unknown.
Yeah.
We didn't know how it was going to work. We've always had 50 to register in one, and we'd always register in no guns bookings. So it was a bit of a, is it going to work?
Yeah.
And we only had to see it actually once to think, oh my gosh, why have we not been doing this?
So that's the story of the aeroplane game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So see me after for that one.
Okay. Brilliant. You might need to do a bit of a YouTube one on that. So that we can all...
With the pink hat on.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the weight. I think that's very commendable to have got that into one place. We have too many bits of information, and as we're moving more across the electronic healthcare record, it's essential we get that in one place. That improves the efficiency and the care we can give patients, not just in terms of prescribing the right dose of medication, but also in terms of monitoring their nutritional status, and in my case as a renal physician, watching out for changes in their fluid balance from day to day. So it's fantastic, and I look forward to hopefully other projects like this. Maybe we can get urine output from my own perspective, my keenness around that. Absolutely. Thank you, Liz. I think that was great.
Thank you. Well, and I love the what if. Oh, the tenacity there I thought was brilliant, was really, really well done. Just, again, living and breathing the tools that we've learned, using them, showing they work. Brilliant. Helen?
So I would just like to say congratulations to both teams that have reported out. I think absolutely resonate with all of the commentary. I would really like to offer my personal congratulations to Victor. And so Paul and I had the pleasure of doing his Lean for Leaders executive Gemba round.
Wow.
I totally agree. The
My
environment
blown
in
away.
terms of the being visible around the methodology is absolutely there in pathology. But Victor is also one of our few members of staff that are also ALT trained.
Oh, wow.
And so he has done the double. And it's not an easy task to do both of those. And I think both of those elements from those courses are very visible and are working really well in pathology.
I really would strongly recommend that you book on and go onto the tours and have a look. It is phenomenal to see. Really good. Jimmy?
I just want to echo that. I've had the privilege of working with Victor recently, and he deserves all the credit, but what we haven't mentioned is he's taken his team with it. And that is probably the harder part. We can go it alone, can't we, and do it and get the boxes ticked, but as we've articulated, he's not done that. He's done it the proper way of taking people with him. So I'm pretty confident you could stop any of his team and ask them about what it means to them, and they would have something meaningful to tell you. So for me, that's just as important.
Yep. And I pinched your everyday lean ideas form. I've taken that. So got one of those in my office at the minute, ready to share in HR. So brilliant, really good, really good. Anybody else? No, well, what an amazing report out. Thank you to everybody. It's been really, again, another wonderful Friday lunchtime. And if you're not working this weekend, have a good weekend. And if you are working, let's hope it's not too manic.